down to, say, a Scandia Battalion 2. I just want you to know where to get these, so when you go back to the firehouse on shift, you can just talk about gallons per second, fast attack, and the fact that sometimes a 2.5 will put out more fire with less water because we're not wasting water with premature vaporization. You're going to the fires growing up as a younger tailboard firefighter. We'd stretch 1.5 inches, 1.75 inches, automatic, selective gallons nozzle, going 80, 90, 100 gallons a minute, and then eventually 125 to 150 gallons a minute. We get a fire like this, and it's an arson job. It's actually more fire than you can tell in this picture. When you watch the video in your own time, you'll actually be able to see there's fire on 2 or 3 windows on the right side of the delta side. The left's got fire on 2 windows. The attic, 80, 90-year-old house, lighter pines burning like crazy. Front porch is on fire. And it takes us, 2 or 3 minutes to get a knock on us. Not uncommon, 2 or 3 minutes. But if we said 2 minutes, and I was flowing at 150 gallons a minute, that's 300 gallons. But it took me 2 minutes, and it took me 300 gallons. But if I used a 2.5, and I could knock it out in less than 30 seconds, that's 90 seconds quicker than I could be doing what to this house? Searching. And instead of 300 gallons, it's only 150 gallons. Because instead of, like I said this morning, that little pencil hole in the bonfire, what did I do with that 2.5? I threw it all in there at once. And then this being an old wood frame house, that 1.75 inches from a fog nozzle or a smooth board, can everybody visualize that front porch wood frame gable with the wooden slats? Can everybody visual that on a wood frame? Or the second set of gables to the top, up where the flames are. You know what I'm talking about? The gable vent to vent the attic, and you got these wood slats. If I'm out here by this chain link fence and I got 1.75 inches, how much water is really going to make it through those slats and those 2 gables? What about 2.5? I got a 2.5. The amount of velocity and water flow, I'm going to probably get water through the slats and maybe even break a slat or 2 to get water in that attic, to control that attic fire. And whatever water's not utilized, what you're going to do is going to rain through that tunnel and groove. And that's the power of not just GPM. That's the power of what I like to call hydraulic truck work. You're basically forcing that water. When you say having a truck open that gable or forcing that water in there, you're forcing it under pressure because it's a 2.5. And if you watch that video, the whole video is only 45 seconds. When you watch that video, turn up the volume, and you'll see a firefighter. She's 18 years old, just got out of our volunteer fire program, Firefighter 1, totally into it. The dude backing her up's pathetic. He ain't doing shit. She stretches a line by herself, and she's in it, you'll see in the video, and she's on it, and he's just kind of hanging out like a lazy ass, and he just wanted a t-shirt. But she opens the nozzle, and she's got it half open. And why does she only have it half open? I talked about it yesterday morning. She was what? Afraid or doubting herself. You watch the video, you turn up the volume, you'll hear me walk over to her, and I wouldn't even touch the hose line like I got a back row. I just walk over to her and I just say, open it all the way up. A lot of you tell her to open it all the way up with no hesitation. Because I know she can do it. I train her. I see her in the drill field all day long. I mean, I'm not worried about it. And you'll watch the video when she has it half throttle, the fire's not doing anything, you can kind of see it, and when she opens it up in a matter of 10 seconds, boom. 150 pounds, full bunker, you're soaking wet almost. I mean, she's a little thing. Knocks almost the entire fire down by herself, one person on a hose line. I wish I could bring her to me when I travel around the country so she could laugh at all these people that think it takes 1 million people to operate a flow of 2.5. She knocks out that entire bulk of fire pretty much by herself. She stretched the 2.5, she called for water, boom, she hits it. And all that bulk of fire, majority of it, in attic space, that front porch attic space, the front living room, bathroom area, she puts it in a timeout in less than 30 seconds. And the video stops, but if you heard the radio traffic, you'll hear me on the radio. Command, Squad 3, make entry. Where's Squad 3 standing by? The back door. They already forced the door, because we're in the bedrooms in this house. The back, they already forced the door. They put the howling through the door. You know, somebody pop the door, they set the howling, they shut the door back. They got it. As soon as they got on the radio, because I didn't want to come through the back door with that 2.5 full of 265 gallons of on a cellar string. Because what could he do if it made it through the right window or doorway? Hit him in the face. She shuts it down. I tell them to go. They come through the back door. They push as far as they can up to where they see the massive fire burning, and they search back from there. While they're doing that, they spin off the tips of the 2.5. And if that fire was today, they drop that gusset pack on the ground. Everybody sure yesterday I told you about the gusset pack. If you weren't here yesterday, you can go to countyfiretaggies.com in the top right, put in Gustin Pack, or go Gustin, Gustin, and it'll show you videos on it, load it, stretch it, what we use it for. But if that fire was today, when she shut it down, there'd be a Gustin Pack, which would be 100 foot, 1 3/4 with a fog nozzle or a smooth bore. They hook it up to the end of that coupling, just like that. And off of that 2.5, blitz that fire, they move right in there. What would they do? They mop up the closets, or what we call the drywall, and they would control finishing off that fire, off extending it. For us, the Gustin Pack has been a game changer for us being a county fire department that protects rural, suburban, and urban areas. Because some of you, a third of you weren't here yesterday, every engine company in Escambia County, the officer's side, there's a little shelf above the 2 discharges with the LDH discharge, and we have a Gustin Pack about this long, 100 feet, 1 3/4 with either a Milwaukee strap or just seat belts cut out of a junkyard car strap. And man, like I'm telling you, man, if you're not like one of the first 2 companies, that's the thing to the 3rd or 4th 2 company. They bring that, they show up there in the front, hey chief, you need a 3rd line? I mean, she went 5 hooks on there, hey chief, I got my Gustin Pack, I got my Gustin Pack. And sometimes if you're into the job, we'll say, okay, here's the Gustin Pack. We don't even need the damn thing, right? I just want to let them stretch it because it's turning a fire into a drill. Well, we'll get a lot of fires, real common. We'll get a fire like that big picture I showed yesterday where it's that 2nd floor, that 2-story garden apartment's rocking. We'll stretch it, a pre-connect, 200 foot, in between 2 garden apartments into the courtyard. They'll blitz it, well, they'll blitz it, they'll have that Gustin Pack, and they'll be laying it out. Sometimes they'll put 2 Gustin Packs, take the nozzle off one, connect it together at 200 foot, we'll hook it into the end of that nozzle, they'll blitz the fire, and now we have an extended line, beyond the pre-connect, as we call it. Extending a line using hose bundles connected to pre-connected hose lines. You and I are not the Portland Fire Department or the Denver Fire Department or the FDNY. Most of us don't have real low hose beds with bulk hose beds. Awesome way for intercompany operations, but we just don't have it based on the design of our apparatus, how we historically operate. So the next best thing is having a system of maximizing your pre-connected lines, whether the 2.5 inch, 3/4, your bumper lines, using pigtails that will custom order with your hose, not some homemade crap that's the weakest length of your line, and having different types of hose bundles. Even if you're a rural apparatus, we run every rural apparatus, we carry standpipe hose. 4 50-foot sections of 2.5, hose bundled together. You think that hose gets used at high-rise fires very often in our rural department stations in our county? No. Where do you think they use it at? Barn fires, ranch fires, and then in the rural areas, they'll pull up and they'll have them hose bundles. They got to do a crazy stretch and the pre-connect won't reach. They'll go grab the high-rise backs. They'll stretch that pre-connect. When the pre-connect runs out, what do they do? Boom, they'll drop the section. He'll bark off about 15 steps. What is 15 steps about? Almost 50 feet. Drop another one. That person will be coming. As he's coming, this guy will grab the bail. He'll go like that. That person will connect these 2 and bam, now we've taken a high-rise bundle of 4 sections of hose, use it in a rural setting to extend for a long stretch to get to a barn or a farmhouse down a long driveway. So we have it for that day that rural company might get called for a 3rd alarm to a high-rise downtown, or to the beach, or just another fire to relocate. Because when our rural companies relocate to backfill stations, what do they need on it? They need the stuff on in case they respond in to the hospitals or the condominiums or whatever the case may be. Backing up real quick, there's what we told people like blitz, just a 50-foot section, 1 firefighter in a nozzle. Throwing a bunch of water on it. And that's exactly that video that I just talked, the Escambia County Battalion 2 video that's on the website. That's what she was doing right there. She was just kneeing it, and basically to hold the cover, to charge it wherever the knee hits, she just bend it down, and all that nozzle reaction is going into the ground itself. And then there's just a ram, going about 9 gallons a second. Bush reverse, drop your tank, reverse out for supply. In some of our rural areas, we got a decent amount of fire, and they don't really pass a hydrant on the way in, and they'll see a fire like this, but there's a hydrant past the scene, and it's a long time. They may stop, blitz this fire as hard as they can, put the water efficiency on the fire, and if they run out of water, if they blitz it as hard as they can, they run out of water, they'll drop a 3 inch or a 5 inch, the pre-connects they already pull, they break with a pigtail. You know what I mean by a pigtail? Throwing off your pre-connects? A 6 to 10 foot. How many of you have pigtails with your pre-connects? Awesome. Raise your hand if you do not. So if you wanted to disconnect, you'd have to go 50 feet away from the rig or climb up into the cross lane. That ought to be on your top list operational, man. It is a game changer getting a 6 to 10 foot. Ideally, the best pigtails are ones that you didn't make out of old hose. Who's done that before? That's what we used to do when we started having failures, because shit, why did it fail in the first place? It was worn out. And you just, well, let's just recouple the good section. I mean, the other part's bad, this good section it'll be good for 4 fires, you know what I mean? Like, that's what we thought. But we used to do about 6 foot, now we do about 10 foot, because if the chick stand swivel, who knows what a chick stand swivel is? That little thing that flips back and forth, right? And it's on the opposite side, like one's on this pretty neck here, one's here, and the hose line comes off, and it eats up about 3 feet, 4 feet, and it comes down. We want where it's on the ground, where it's easy to break it, or hook in an inline adductor, or extend the line, or whatever. It's a game changer for us. But we'll drop those lines, that rig will reverse out. When it gets to the hydrant, we'll hook in the hydrant, and it'll send back sustained water supply. Here's the debate. That engine company didn't have a hydrant on the way in. A lot of people, historically, we want that engine company to not stop. What do they want them to do? If nobody else is coming, they want them to drive 400 feet down the road. They want them to turn around. Well, when they turn around, what do we have to do to turn the rig around? Huh? We got to get off the rig. We got to put on our DOT Idaho State approved vest. We got to get out our mag right, we're on top of our diesel batteries. Kind of like we're back up to 747, right? We'll back the fire truck. Stupidest shit we ever came up with. The only person that's going to get hurt is the damn person who's going to get run over and back over the environment. Right? It's 2 o'clock in the morning. If little Johnny's playing in the street, too bad for little Johnny. Right? The last thing we need is 2 firefighters getting off the rig going to a working fire to turn a fire truck around. Now, we're back in the firehouse. Do we want firefighters back in the firehouse? Yeah. But I'm real passionate about that because a good friend of mine, Bill McCann, firefighter in Miami-Dade, Aerial 2, Liberty City, one of Bill Guston's firemen, almost got killed. He was back in an Aerial 2, Miami-Dade, about 10 years ago. And the driver switched rear view mirrors, backed in and pinned him between that pole that's out front of the firehouse that keeps him in the firehouse. Right here, jammed him. Only reason he survived, the only reason Bill McCann survived is at Aerial 2 in Liberty City, Miami. Literally right out front of the damn subway train. That's how urban this is. It's rescue to the ambulance, not a rescue truck, but a transport ALS unit. With Ralphie, one of my friends was on duty. Ralphie was just a paramedic in RN. He's a PA, physician assistant at the fire medics in Miami-Dade. And the other person on that rig was a paramedic, RN, physician assistant on the side. They made that higher dollar an hour being a PA. They didn't have the benefit package. So as soon as he got, he was bleeding out. He didn't just have 2 firefighter paramedics. He had 2 firefighter paramedics or PAs with entire ALS, with every drug known to mankind. They instantly, within a matter of seconds, were providing him ALS care. They threw in the back of the rig. They didn't do all that protocol shit where you work on it for 12 minutes as you watch him die because you got to check 22 freaking boxes to make the medical director happy. They threw in the back of the rig. They said, screw that, right? And they were hauling ass, wide ass open to the trauma center. I told you about earlier where the President of the United States sends their trauma surgeons to get us. And he pulled in, and I don't know the exact time, let's just say it's 4:55. They pull in at 4:55, they bring him out, they already told the trauma center we're bringing in a Miami-Dade firefighter. He's bleeding out, it's a trauma, he's got minutes to survive. Guess who was going home at 5 o'clock on Friday that day? The lead trauma ER surgeon. He said if he showed up 15 minutes later, he was dead because they had to recall that trauma surgeon because they didn't have or whatever day it was. But the reality is everything lined up for him. And, the big debate was, yeah, we kept the fire truck from backing into the firehouse, but he almost died. You know what I mean? There's a point where sometimes we have to think about things that we create, put an apparatus there before safety. And my job, we back rigs up. We get out yet, so we make sure we back them up. But in my battalion, if they go to a fire at 2 o'clock in the morning, and they pass an address, and they got to turn around to the hydrant, I tell them I don't want one person getting off that fire truck. That's more dangerous. I'd rather do the paperwork we back over a mailbox at 2 o'clock in the morning, and 2 firefighters with a heart rate of 175 beats a minute with Johnny and Susie's trapped in a house with shit's on fire, and you're worried about backing the rig into a mailbox. Have I told you enough stories about some of the stupid shit we do in the American Fire Service? I told you yesterday, as I tell the truth, I told the chief yesterday too, man, might not ask me back. But I'm going to tell you the truth. But I want to tell you about this fire here. First new engine company pulls up, there's another fire going on, so the company was coming from another district. When they pulled up and they saw this fire, I was already on scene. I got there first, had a chief say, on lightly took this picture. I got first, I said, when they were pulling in, I told them, hey, engine 3, I want you to hit your tank as hard as you can with a 2.5 on the street. That lieutenant told me if I wouldn't have been on scene, and he was open and honest, he said, Chief, if you weren't on scene, you know what I was going to do? If I'd have got here before you, what was he going to do? Because he knew there was nobody coming for supply. There was another working fire going on, and he was taught, he grew up, he'd been in the Navy, worked DOD fire. What was he more scared of? Running out of water. That's how he'd been taught. You know what I mean? Like that was a no-no. He said he would have kept driving past his fire, would have went down the street, got a 3-point turn, hooked in the hydrant, lay back to the scene, because he'd been brainwashed his early years in the fire service that a hydrant was everything. I want to tell you about this fire. They pulled up, they stretched that 2.5, and John Van Meter was the fireman, and he puts it out of that wild screen, you'll see a white line on the side of the road. He opens that engine and 8 tip, and he runs it from left to right, right to left, on that 2x10, 2x12 header, the soft area, and the water rains down. Within 90 seconds, there was no visible fire with a little bit of flame coming out of the engine compartment. Is that a problem compared to what you see right here? No. It knocked that fire down in 90 seconds. The fire was all over with. The fire had started in a detached laundry room where you put the lawnmower and the washer and dryer. It's a carport, not even closed. So when you look to the left, see that car on the far left? There's a car in front of it, up under the carport. On the right is the door that goes into the kitchen. You probably don't have an Idaho because it gets cold in Florida. Being on a serious note, not being funny. We have a lot of carports where the car just pulls in, kind of keep it's open carport. It's 2 double doors on the left where there's a washer, dryer, and a little utility closet. The fire started there, so it wasn't even, it's attached to the house only by a roof. So basically what you see is it looks real impressive, but it's not really a lot of fire. It's a lot of vegetation. Now that I pointed out, can you tell it's on the right part? It's a lot of vegetation. It's a cinder block house. It's about 50 years old. It's got like 4 layers of paint. So what's really burned is the paint on the cinder block. The wood frame soffits. That car there is burning pretty good. The other car, there's 2 car parts. When we were done and this fire was off, we did like a tailboard wash. We're going to talk about like we were teaching. And everybody that came to this fire agreed that first engine company would have passed the scene, went down the street, did a 3-point turn, and laid a supply line. When we got back, it would have been on fire. The entire inside of the house. As it is, that engine company pulled it right down, hit it hard from the yard, and the fire barely entered the kitchen space. Now, luckily, the family had gotten out before we got there. But if they would have been there, and this engine company knocked it down, when they went into search, they would have found they would have been alive. They would have just been waking them up. It would have been maybe dangerous because they might have got shot because the family would come in down and like, the hell you doing in my house, you know what I mean? And that's something else to talk about. When you get a fire, you know what I mean? You go inside of a house. You got to be careful these days with the number of people. I mean, especially in Idaho, Texas, you know what I mean? Shit, they liable to have a damn 9mm or something under the pillow. But, you know, seriously, I mean, it's going to happen one day that a fire department's going to be doing an aggressive search and a fireman's going to get shot. I mean, it is, I mean, they've got to search, but it's just one of those things to think about in society. But we talked about it. And this is just one of a lot of fires that made our organization passionate with, if we pull up, and this is the main message I want you to get out of this slide. If we pull up, you pull up, and you drop your tank on this fire right now, as efficiently and effectively as you can. And your tank is 750 or 1,000 gallons. Doesn't work. And you run out of water. You run out of 750 gallons, or you run out of 1,000. And you go down the street, you catch a hydrant, you get a water supply. Is the outcome still probably going to be better than if you just drove past it and got the sustained supply and never ran out? Because what did at least 750 to 1,000 gallons do to this fire? UL likes to call it a restart, where it puts it in timeout. But when you hit this with 750 or 1,000, when it comes back to life, it rarely comes back to life with as much roar and power. Do you agree with that when you knock it down? Because it's already burned off all the paint off the front. It's burned off, it's consumed a lot of fuel piping. But this thing is at a point now where if we give it 2, 3, or 4 more minutes, what's it going to be? It's really going to be right. And that's my message as I travel the country, and I try to explain to you, we got to be stop being scared sometimes to pretend like we're in Las Vegas, and let's just come on, let's gamble. there's not too many millionaires, gazillionaires, became millionaires by living conservative. Do you agree with that if you study it? Not too many, man. Most of them that made the big bucks, what did they do? They took big chances. They had ideas, and what did people tell them when they had the idea? That shit won't work, you're crazy, right? And they just believed it. And this year's kind of the same thing. You gotta believe in your water. Literally. You like write shit down or something right now. You gotta believe in your water. You gotta value your water. You gotta value the booster tank. It's huge, man. It's you know, and we're going to lunch here for the ones that weren't here yesterday. When you leave, if all I get through you, man, is that silver bullet, that water can, and the fact that you are carrying a 500-gallon tank, that's 200. A 70 tank, that's 300. A 1,000 tank, that's 400. And this thing right here, really all it needs is about 200 water cans to put it in a knot, by blitzing it. By reversing sustained water supply. And if you do a sustained water supply, we hit it earlier talking about making sure you understand how much water it takes just to fill up the hose. Now, as some of you may entertain reverse ways for maximum water supply for big fires or for maximum supply, there's one thing that I do want to make sure that you consider in your training and going over with your driver operators. It's based on experience and not a good experience. It's based on 5 inch takes 2 people to disconnect it because of the companies. When an engine company drops everybody off but the driver, and they reverse out to the hydrant, whatever it is, 600 feet. When they get to the hydrant, without being told otherwise, the natural thought process for most drivers is to get off the rig and hook up to the hydrant first because they're taught they got to have water coming in to do what? To send it. But you get off and you hook into the hydrant, you take off the caps, you hook it in, you got water coming in, and that takes you 4, 3, 4, 5 minutes. And you get to the back of the rig, and you pull that hose off. And you by yourself as the driver that reversed out, what could you possibly not do? What could you possibly not do right now at the back of the rig with that 5 inch? Disconnect it because of the 2 locks and the 2 pause fans. But when you got to the hydrant, the first thing you did was you got off the rig and you went to the back and you pulled it off, and you could do it, fine. You just go hook it up to the water down there discharge. As soon as you have water in the pump panel, you have to walk over there. What do? You discharge it. But if you get to the back of the rig and you can't break it, you've not wasted 4 minutes to find that out. What can you get on the radio and tell command or somebody else you need? Somebody else. Engine 18 to command. Chief, I reversed out to the hydrant. I'm going to need an additional firefighter to break the 5 inch from the hookup. Copy that, send it to somebody. While we're waiting on that person, now what do? We go and we hook up to the hydrant. Because it takes one person to hook into a hydrant because you put your NST on there and come out and spin on the normal threads. And then you take that cover and what do? You go click because the hydrant's holding. So 99% of the time, a firefighter by themselves, a driver operator, can do a hydrant hookup with nobody helping. But a large number of the times, you need somebody for that 5 inch that's been sitting in the back of that rig for the last 9 months since the last time you fixed it, to break that suction. Everything I'm talking about, where you got to do them 2 locks. So you want to find that out immediately. So if you need to request somebody, they're coming while you're making up. You're not wasting time. You're doing that hookup. Everybody with me? You look like that sleepy eyes. And it sounds stupid, but we've had fires where the driver got there and did everything, they got the back of the rig, and then when they call, they're just kind of standing there twiddling their thumbs because they already did the other part. But if they'd have found out first that they needed somebody, they could get all those other hookups. And I tell you this, if for some reason you are able to make the break by yourself, and you hook it up to that LDH discharge on the officer side. Anybody want to tell me why the LDH discharge is spec on most all apparatus on the officer side? Anybody know why? It's the most dangerous hose that you're going to pump. You don't want a 5 inch coming off the pump panel side of the driver operator stance. 2.5, 3 inches, 3/4, that's fine. Why? Because the way it's manufactured, the way it's coupled, and the manufacturer hose pressure test, to be 800 pounds. What's the only hose that they're stupid enough to let Johnny at the firehouse fix himself? 5 inch with a razor knife. Cuts it, takes out a couple of Allen wrenches. Have you ever done that or seen that before? You put it on there. Oh, I'm positive y'all use that impact wrench. I'm positive, you torque it right to the specification of the hose manufacturer, you know what I mean? Where you set it right. No, you just put whatever feels good. Anybody ever seen a 5-inch blow off with a snort scuffling? It's pretty extreme and pretty catastrophic. So I do tell people, anytime you're pumping 5-inch LVHOs, try to make sure it's coming off the officer side. If you're speccing your rig, and you're looking into it, my department just started doing it, I've been talking about it for over 10 years. We like our first section or two of 5-inch when we're pumping a 4-way valve, a hydro assist, or we're pumping a reverse lay, coming off the LVH, to be attack 5-inch, or what we call high pressure 5-inch. Because where's the highest pressure going to be? The first couple of sections. Another thing that we tell our folks, sometimes like in Florida, we don't do it anymore because of this. How many of you have apparatus with a 5-inch is not up in the hose under the tray, it comes off the rear, it's down on the rear, so there's about 8 feet that's exposed 365 days a year to the elements. Around that country, that's uncommon. We stopped doing that because where's the highest probability if somebody wraps a hydrant, lays in, a rig comes and hooks that in, what's the place that's going to fail? Right there where you're throwing 150, 175 pounds of pressure to it, because that's the part that's been exposed to the sun. And so what we started to do is if we're pumping it, we prefer that to be the newer section, or we prefer that to be the high pressure section, or what they call a TAC 5-inch, if you will. So just another little specification to think about when you're talking about going to a new level of water supply and pumping big water, if you will, on your worst leg. Communications is critical. On any type of extended stretch, it's not an exact science. As somebody that truly loves water delivery and understanding pump discharge pressures and tip sizes and under pumping and over pumping 40, 50, 60 on different types, I think you should know all that. When we get to a working fire, you should know all that, but then be able to just be simple on some things and say, up a little more, down a little more, give me 10 more, give me 10 less. Because if you know that the attention to detail, then you don't have to split hairs at 2 o'clock in the morning. What I mean by that is I tell my folks, anytime we do a pre-connected extended stretch, beyond the pre-connect will be extended stretch, where we'll stretch a 200 foot, 2.5, and then we'll hook our gusset pack to it. Or we'll stretch a water feed off the back of the rig, or we'll stretch, an inch 3/4, we'll hook another inch 3/4 of that, maxing out at 3 feet. We don't like to go over 350 feet of our inch 3/4 without using a bigger trunk line. But our apparatus, pretty much standard, we'll start at 150 and modify from there. Because the driver's doing many things. Even a good driver, we don't want it right there when shit's on fire and going, all right, that's true ID. No, that's that old 188 hose. And they're like trying to go, that's 14.7 pounds fish loss per 50. And we don't want to do that. We want them to say, 150, get them water, and then walk a little bit later. Fine tune it. When they did it, and you have experienced firefighters and officers, and they're on an 1.125", or they're on a 7/8, should they somewhat be able to tell if the nozzle reaction is accurate for the flow and pressure of that nozzle type? Guaranteed. Whether they can feel it or they can see it. And so we'll send them 150, and this is gusset pack just on the end of our number 1 7/8 inch 3/4, which is only 250 feet. That's too much pressure. So all that does is knocks out the kinks, and they see here on the radio is 17 officer to 17 driver, drop it back to 110. You know what I mean? They'll even tell them sometimes because they've already thought about it, and they know what to tell them instead of, hey, back off. They're going to give them an exact number. Either they drop it 10 or drop it back to 110 or whatever. And I say 110 because most of our standard 150s is about 90 psi. For our rig, based on flow meters and pitot gauge, to get that exact flow. Now, our rigs, I think we got 3 flow meters down our county. Once a year, every rig in the county, a shift is responsible. They go flow test and make sure that things haven't changed in a year's time with the hose, and they'll flow test it to make sure what we want for our 7/8, our 250 to 50, our 1.125", our 360, whatever. And then they'll mark it. They'll mark it on the board, and they'll know exactly what it is. But when they get to a fire, as they call it in the restaurant business, they don't get in the weeds. Anybody ever heard that in the restaurant business? Don't get in the weeds. You know what I mean? Like they don't get too deep into it. We've already done the homework on our hose and nozzle package. We've done the homework on what we need. Now with a fire, we don't get so trained out with times like freaking, oh my God, I'm about 4 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, and that's why I was so passionate yesterday that when you have a hose and nozzle package, you should have hose and nozzle packages that you can have a variation of 20 pounds, 10 down and 10 up, and still have an effective hose string that's going to meet that proper flow. It's going to give you the proper combat mobility for that line and what you're gonna use it for. Any questions before we go to lunch? What time is it right now? Let's say 1 o'clock. I know that everybody's eating here, but that gives you a chance to stretch, mingle, talk. So at 1 o'clock, we'll kick it off and go wide open at 1 o'clock.